So when it comes to managing money, the advice that's typically given to a lot of people is to live below your means, right? And I think we can all agree that that's a pretty sound advice, right? Make sure that if you spend less than you make, then you should be okay financially. However, no one ever talks about, along with living below your means, you should also be trying to find ways to increase your means, right? Because regardless if you make $100,000 or $1,000,000, I think we can all agree that you should be living below your means, right? Even if you're someone that makes $1,000,000, you shouldn't be buying a $10 million house, right? That just doesn't make financial sense. You should always be trying to find ways to live below your means. But for a lot of people, just living below your means isn't enough to build wealth, and I'll give you some reasons why. One, things are always going up due to inflation. Okay, things are always getting more expensive. As we can see, depending on what type of economy that we're living at this moment, things are expensive for a lot of people, even if you're managing your money properly, right? And two, for a lot of people, salaries aren't keeping up with inflation, so it's making it difficult. Of course, we know there's people that are blaming inflation for why they're struggling financially, when in reality they have poor spending habits. But for a lot of people, it's very difficult to maintain that lifestyle when things are always going up and things are just getting more expensive. And three, living below your means is a slow way to build wealth. Now, if you're someone that has a regular job and your wealth is not something that really matters to you. Maybe you just want to put your money in the index fund, put in retirement 401k, IRA, and by the time you're 65, you can retire with a nice little nest egg, right? If that's something you want to do, that's totally fine. Like I would recommend a lot of people do that, especially if you're just working your regular job and then you want to make sure by the time you retire you have something to live off for the rest of your life. However, there's a lot of people that don't want to wait that long, right? Maybe they want to be able to enjoy their wealth in their relative youth, right? And that's okay. And if living below your means is going to be a hard thing to do, so you're either gonna have to do a couple of things, right? Especially when it comes to increasing your means, you're gonna have to hopefully maybe have a high-paying job, invest in real estate, or the thing I always recommend is starting a business. For me, obviously, starting a business is a faster way to accelerate your income, right? Especially of course with a job, you're capped off, with a salary or hourly income, and maybe you get like a 3% raise every year. But that's a pretty slow way to build wealth, right? For business, is something that you have more control over when it comes to your income, and you can 10x your income depending on what kind of system you build and what kind of business that you have. So for me, that's a faster way to build wealth, and for me, it's just along with living below your means, that's a nice way to also increase your means. But let's also talk about why a lot of people struggle with living below the means. Right? They tend to live above their means. And for me, what I see is obviously financial literacy. Right? We can all agree financial literacy is a big part of why people struggle to manage their money properly. Another reason is because sometimes some people just don't think they can make more money. And if you believe that you can't make any more money, then you won't. And think about someone that doesn't think that. Let's say you have a regular job, you make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, right? And you don't think you can make any more money outside of that job, and outside of that 3% raise every year. Then what you're gonna do is I can't make any more money, and I want to enjoy the vacations. I want to maybe buy a nice house, get the car. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna take on debt. Whether you obviously take on personal loans or use credit cards, you're like, I can't make any more money than what I have now. So the only way for me to get the things that I want, to go on vacations, to buy the nice things in life, I have to use debt, and that's wealth for a lot of people, right? Is your salary plus debt is wealth to a lot of people, and obviously we all can agree that that's not a sound way to manage your money, right? Because you first have to believe it. Because I'll tell you this, as someone who obviously didn't grow up rich. Like when I started my affiliate marketing business in 2016, in 6 months, I made my first sale. And it was, like I said, $3.50 on Amazon. Now, if I ran up to you and told you I made $3.50 on Amazon, of course that you're gonna look at that like, okay, that's nothing, right? Maybe you could get a cup of coffee, right? But for me, in my head, it was just like, okay, this is possible. I can make money outside of a job. Even though it's only $3.50, it is possible to make money outside of doing this. Like something I've never done before. it's possible to do it. And then obviously, as I kept working and kept working that affiliate marketing business, I was making more, and eventually I was starting to make 5 figures. Right, at one point I made the most I ever made in 1 month was almost $38,000, the most I ever made in a month. That to me, that was mind blowing. When you see that money coming in, you ask yourself, is it real? And I think for a lot of people is that they've never seen that happen before, so they don't believe that it can happen, right? Like sometimes your belief dictates your actions. If you don't think you can make money, then you're not going to ever take action in order to find ways to make money. If you start to ask yourself questions like, okay, all right, I'm not making enough at my job, right? And I want to make more money. I want to also, like I said, not just live below my means. I want to also increase it. Then you're going to say, okay, how can I do this? Then you can start asking questions. Okay, what do I need to do? You're going to start trying to find solutions to that question, to that problem, right? Whether it's, like you said, you're going to invest, you're going to take the initiative to invest in real estate, start investing in other things, starting a business, whatever it is, you're going to try to find ways to solve this problem of how to increase your income. And I think for a lot of people, they have this mentality like it's not possible. So if it's not possible, they don't take the action. They've already defeated themselves. They've already said, you know what, it's not possible. So they're not going to do it. So I think for a lot of people that it's important. Like living below your means is very important. We all should be doing that regardless of how much money you make. We should all be living below our means, but you should also be trying to find ways to increase your means. And if you're someone that's not making enough money at whatever job that you're doing, then you need to find ways, whether it's like improving your skills, so therefore you can find an industry where you can make more money, right? Or maybe you get a second job, or you start a side hustle, you start a business, whatever it is, finding ways to increase your income. Obviously, you don't want to be working multiple jobs, because if you're working multiple jobs, that means you don't have the skill, you don't have the right skill to just make that same money in one job. Right, so that's something that you should be also, looking forward to. But if you want to do multiple jobs just to as you're working on a business, then that's something you can do as well. But you should be always trying to find ways to improve your skills at whatever place, or whatever skill that you can that it takes to help you make the money that you're looking for. That's what you should be doing. And I think for a lot of people, you should always be trying to improve yourself, so therefore you can make enough money to get the things that you want, and make sure that you can buy the freedom that you're looking for. Right, and you don't have to live in that scarcity mentality where you're just barely getting by, living below your means, and then waiting, hoping the economy doesn't turn for the worse, and inflation doesn't go the way it is, and it's going to make it more difficult for you to afford to live the lifestyle that you want to live. So, like I said, I think that's the most important thing, is making sure not only are you living below your means, but you also should be trying to find ways to increase your means. And does it take some work? Yes, it's going to take some thought. It's going to take a little bit of time to be like, all right, figure out what you want to do. But if you're someone that's wanting to change your life for the better, then it's a must. It's something you have to do. It's something you have to commit yourself to. Something you have to dedicate yourself to, and you have to stick to the plan. Okay. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. All right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.